I'm William Grantham with IchimokuWeather.com, and this is a quick analysis of Indian stock Tata Power. Here we are looking at the weekly chart, and first we're going to go in and find our first three levels of support underneath us, and we can see that the Tenkan-sen has gone flat, and the Kijun-sen is flat as well. We went bullish underneath the cloud back here where they crossed, and price action moved up above the cloud, rode the cloud down a little bit, and then popped up above the Tenkan-sen and has been riding it up ever since. So the blue line here is our first level of support underneath us right at the Tenkan-sen level. So we'll put a line of support in here. Our second line of support is showed by the Kijun-sen right here at this flat level. So we'll put in our second line of support at it. And then our third line of support is going to be based upon the cloud itself. Notice that the bottom of the cloud has gone flat right here. We do have that as our third line of support. The top of the cloud has also gone flat right up here, and that can be considered a support area as well, but it's within the zone here between our first two lines, so I'm not going to mark it, but you can understand that halfway between our top support and our medium support is another support line based upon the top of the cloud. Our first line of resistance is up at the top of market action right up here, so we're going to put in a line as our first line of resistance above. Looking back on the weekly, we don't have any other resistance that's happened for quite a long time to see where we challenged the 114 line, 116 line earlier. And looking back all the way in 2011, we can see a flat cloud here, and that's going to give us our next line of resistance above. And then we also, back at the very beginning of 2011, also have a flat line on the cloud, and we're going to call that as our third line of resistance. So as we look back at where we currently are at, we can see that we do have a zone of resistance above from about 114 up to 116. Above that, we do have resistance at 125, and then above that at 130. So our resistance levels are falling into our whole numbers, about 125 and 130. It is common to see resistance happening at whole numbers and at 5 intervals. So seeing resistance at 125 and 130 is not uncommon. Taking a look back on our daily chart to see what this looks like to help us out to see where things are going. Price action exited the cloud back in 2020, rode the Tenkan-sen up with a bullish channel with the blue above the red, a nice bullish channel, came down and challenged it a little bit right here, but found support at the Kijun-sen, got back above the Tenkan-sen and rode it for a while until we consolidated a little bit and poked underneath just enough to be able to pull the blue Tenkan-sen below the Kijun-sen, but we didn't even come down and challenge the top of the cloud. We then came up above our second support area where the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen went flat together. Notice that we now have three areas right here that are showing us lots of support on the daily where the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun are tracking together, as well as where we found one of our support levels from the weekly. Price action then continues to go up, finds a little bit of resistance at our top support line, and then gets above it, turning it from resistance into support, and continues to ride until we get a little bit of a topping pattern, and the recent market action came down and filled the channel. We still do have a bullish channel with the blue line above the red line. Sometimes watching volume can help us, and some people don't watch volume, but if you do, taking a look down here at volume, we can see that we do have a bit of an increase in volume as we have come into this. Of course, we don't know if it's sellers trying to get out, buyers trying to get in, institutions picking up, institutions dropping off, or even insiders picking up or selling off. But we do know that volume has picked up as we have come into this last little run and coming up, rounding off and coming down to where our support level is right here on the daily. So throwing in another support line right at the bottom of our market action where our Kijun-sen is at, we can see that this support line, I'll here change it from red to blue again, just so we remain consistent. So now we've got our blue support line there at the bottom of market action, right where the Kijun-sen is at, and we can see that comes over and runs into the middle of the cloud. The cloud itself is starting to taper off a little bit, although it is going to be support still if we come down and challenge. Based on this analysis, we could fall underneath the cloud, and we would still have support from the weekly down here at $70.35. I'm William Grantham for IchimokuWeather.com.